You're listening to Talk to Brazil with Tom Reaoch. Welcome to Talk to Brazil, the world's first English language internet radio program about business in Brazil, now in podcast format. I'm Tom Reaoch and your host for the show. I'm talking from the city of Campinas in the state of Sâo Paulo, Brazil, so when you talk to Tom, you talk to Brazil and the world. Today's guest is Ana Carolina Carvalho. She's Vice President of Operations for Contech, a Brazilian chemical company, and has more than 12 years of marketing experience in the B2B marketplace. She is skilled in management and leadership from her experiences in a family business, and now responsible for the global market feasibility studies at Contech, which is a manufacturer of high-efficiency biodegradable chemicals. She's creating new business opportunities around the world, especially in Europe and North America. Ana Carolina has a master's in business administration from the University of Pittsburgh and holds a bachelor extension from the University of Berkeley and the Unicamp University in Brazil. Ana Carolina and I have met several years ago in a LinkedIn workshop that I offered, and more recently we met in the Forum for Internationalization of Companies here in Campinas. So with that, Ana, hello and welcome to Talk to Brazil.
Hello, Tom. Thank you for this opportunity.
That's good to see, and we met, as I mentioned, several weeks ago at this forum, and you reminded me actually of the first time we met on the LinkedIn presentation that I made. But at the forum, we were also talking, and the forum was about internationalization. And you mentioned, and I've just said that, you had the opportunity to study at a course at the University of Pittsburgh. You went and had a chance to live in Berkeley, to study there. Tell us about those experiences. How did you gain knowledge about the world through each of these different courses?
Tom, my time at Berkeley was really great. I had this opportunity to study with other international students from all over the world. That made me a better person in terms of cultural aspects.
Mm-hmm.
That was really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And also I had the opportunity to have really good teachers that force us to study hard, but this comes with great opportunity to really practice that when I went back to the company.
Okay.
Then I decided to take this MBA at the University of Pittsburgh. That it was really great. Also, good opportunity because we had a classes of 40 people,
Mm-hmm.
20 Brazilians and 20 Americans, and this the different cultural aspects was also good to me, especially here in the company, to understand more about how to do like negotiations with different countries,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you deal, especially with when you are talking with people from other cultural behaviors,
Right.
and how like this people think differently from whatever we used to think.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say like being in the two different opportunities was really great for me in terms of education.
Okay.
Because I think that education drives national economic growth,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been a person that I've been always trying to reach more. My goals was always have been like to get more and more knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
especially to use here in the company, and how I was going to really reach the top management here and be part of whatever they were discussing about strategies and so on. So I've always been very involved here and how the company was going to prepare it to be in other countries. And so these two programs was really important to my career to develop something I needed to really study all this market abroad, especially in terms of cultural aspects.
Right.
And I think I'm in the right way right now, especially thinking of Europe and North America, that are like these two markets that I study more deeply.
Well, even if you mentioned the United States or even Europe is a multiplicity of markets. Many people look to Europe as one thing, and even the United States is one thing. But you have different niche markets in each one of the countries, as we have here in Brazil. Brazil is one country, but from north to south, it's different. The United States from east to west is different, and certainly Europe is different depending on each of the countries that you go to. Now, the courses, the persons that you were with in both in Berkeley and at this group at the University of Pittsburgh, how did you feel as being a member? Were you accepted? First of all, I want to get into the aspect. You're a woman in business. Were there other women in the courses? Did you talk as peers? What was the age groups? Can you help us understand what the makeup of these groups were?
So at Berkeley, as it is an extension program, so age is a little bit lower. So that's probably between 22 and 28 years old. The group was pretty much like 50% women and men.
Okay.
I didn't feel that it was like it wasn't that different from Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh we were a class of 40 people and probably less than 10 women.
Okay.
I think that we are getting prepared, but it's not easy for women sometimes, especially when they are older, to get into an MBA.
Right.
So I would say the average of the class in Pittsburgh was 35 to 42 years old.
Okay.
And so we had almost no women, like compared to whatever
Berkeley.
I did before.
But were you comfortable?
Berkeley,
How did you feel in that environment? Did you feel okay?
You mean in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, in both. Because obviously you're in two different things. You're in different environments, learning about cultures. You're a Brazilian. You're a woman. There's a lot of things acting at the same time, and you had to study, right? How did all that energy affect you?
The class in Pittsburgh is more mature. So we had the opportunity to really talk about management, leadership, strategic plans, and the class was really a group of smart people. Like they are really well prepared. They are managers or directors in the company. So it's a different environment from whatever I had before at Berkeley, because Berkeley was a class of international students, and they had no experience. Or they have like a feel like not really a lot of years of experience.
Right. So what you're
And so
saying
the
then,
class
really,
is
it's
kind
the
of,
practical experience that is better experience. When you, yeah, we call it the hands-on experience, or being with people
hmm
who have been there. Is that it?
yeah. But I didn't feel uncomfortable anytime. Of course, I like when there is like more women in the class,
Mm-hmm.
especially because we we are more emotionally sensitive than men. But I also feel that we have to be bold, and especially when we have to take a strong position against any difficulty regarding our careers, and of course we do that through education.
Right. Well, let's talk about the careers then. Obviously, you've taken the steps to better your career. And as I
hmm
mentioned, your experience is in a family business, right?
hmm
Uh, so how is that experience within a family business? Obviously, you grew up part of a business. Your family had a
hmm
business, so you lived the
Yeah.
company from your dinner table, probably. Uh,
hmm
Being involved as a daughter of the owners, as a family member, does that make it different? Does it make it easier? Does it make it more difficult?
It's more difficult. Usually people think that it's easier because it's your own family and you own your own business.
Hmm.
They own their own business. So people usually think that it's a good environment for you, but it's
Mm.
harder um, in terms of you have always to prove yourself.
Uh,
You have other people to say that you are good at what you're doing. And if you're not, of course, you won't be enough to the company. And
hmm.
you won't, because if you're not a leader, you won't be able to lead.
Right.
If you don't understand about business and management, you won't be able to be at the top executives of the company. And what I feel is that, to be very honest, I have never had a leader to guide my career.
Hmm.
So I did that through education. I tried my best to understand what was the theoretic part to
Right.
then go to the practice and really do what was the best uh, to really get into this environment and make my positions and say, so why don't we go this way or that
Right.
way?
Right.
Because I was I had this opportunity to learn before saying.
Hmm.
Um, and when when I say I don't have I didn't have a leader, is because, of course, like my dad was a leader to me, but in different aspects.
Right. Right.
I don't feel that he guided me like, so let's do this way or do that way. He always say, go there and do it, and that's pretty much different.
Well, that's
So
what dads generally do, right?
yeah, that's right. And so I consider like two important things to think when we like to scale up, especially when you are inside a family business,
Right.
which are thinking of how much do you understand about the business.
Right.
I mean, like to really suggest new ideas and get more engaged with other people to solve problems. In a sense, you are really bringing different perspectives to that problem. And also, the second one is how much responsibility you are willing to take.
Hmm.
Because it's a different environment when you work inside a family business. But I consider like these two things really important, like how you really understand about a business and how much you want
Right.
to do that, and also take responsibility to yourself. So leadership is one of them.
Well, I imagine at the forum that was much of the conversation about culture. So you have the culture, which is the culture of the country. You have the culture, which is the culture of the company. And from what I hear, what you're saying, as you're going out into the world, you're trying to establish the marketplace, the internationalization of your company. I think that's an enormous help as you understand, because many companies, many businesses in the world are family companies. They're family oriented. So I'm sure that when you're out in Europe or in the United States, you're also dealing with people who are part of a family organization. So you can really understand both sides of the table.
Yeah, that's the thing. Internal the cultural internally of a company, especially when we are talking about a family business, is different from company to company, right?
Right,
but
true.
As I have the opportunity to understand other cultural aspects from other companies worldwide, I really have the opportunity to understand what was the best way to lead my company globally.
Right.
And I say to you that education is so important, because I have a lot of friends that they also are inside family business themselves, but they don't consider really knowing other cultural environments and get to know other companies that are in the market outside Brazil.
Right.
Sometimes they don't understand the importance of their education and how they have to understand about cultural aspects all over the world to really try to guide your company to what's best economically and thinking about the future of the company, especially like my company, because we export our solutions to Europe and North America, and also here, like to all South America.
Right.
But I feel that people don't really care about what is going on outside their company. That's the thing. Like I always think about when people say about innovation, I think my first thought is always, do you really understand what innovation is?
Right.
Or how you are doing, how you're thinking your company through a cultural aspect, and how you are thinking your company of innovation.
Right.
If you don't know whatever the world is doing, you know, or like even thinking about this political and economic, let's say, war between China and the U.S. If you don't know what's in the news, you know, and what's going on outside our own company, it's difficult to guide your company to grow.
Well, you mentioned innovation, and we were speaking offline before we started. The education, and talking about the University of Pittsburgh, the program that you were part of, I would consider that being very innovative, because you mentioned you didn't really have to go to Pittsburgh, because most of the program was here in Brazil, that your professors came, and your organization, you had students here, you had students there. So it was actually a global program, right?
It is. It's a global program because the professors of the University of Pittsburgh, they teach the same course here in Brazil and at the university in Pittsburgh. So this is a great opportunity for Brazilians, because they have the chance to have a global MBA without leaving home.
Right.
And I like, what I especially like about this program is not that it's just force you about whatever they teach, but also force you to do that in English, which is the second problem, because it's a communication problem as well. But it was a really great opportunity to go into this program. Also because we had also the opportunity to go to China.
Right. Oh, wow.
For almost 2 weeks. Yes. We had classes in China, understanding how to do business in China, and the importance of their economy, the word, and how to do business with the word, and also understand a little bit about their problems they face every day.
Right.
I mean, like lack of food and this all internal political things that China has, and they are always trying to solve their problems because they are connected to the world, right?
But that's any country today. Every country has the same situation. You have your internal problems, you have the external forces, you have your desire to grow your company, to grow your family, to be successful,
that's
to learn, right?
That's
to
right.
learn.
But the difference here is that we are talking about 4 billion people, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, we're
and
talking
here in Brazil,
about
we think 200 million is a
everything.
lot, but that's a different story. That's great.
Yeah, Brazil is a very potential economic country. I feel that Brazil is totally part of this big economical environment,
right?
And I always feel that we are just about to get there. You know, like I don't see Brazil as a weak country in any sense.
Right.
I know a lot of Brazilian companies that they do their best to be around the globe with their solutions. There are many things being constructed here in Brazil, like being building here in Brazil to go internationally.
Right.
So I really see Brazil as a really big potential worldwide.
And that depends, and I agree with you. But back to leadership, more examples. Brazil's success will become reality with more examples of people and professionals like yourself. Because what you did, what you are doing, is what needs to be done. Education, you have to educate yourself. You've done that. You understand that the world business is in English, and you've done that as well. And you've gone out and seen it. In terms of China, Brazil is a strategic partner to China, not only in the products that it exports, but the Chinese investment in Brazil is also substantial. So the Brazilian-Chinese relationship is very strong. But again, I think more examples of persons like yourself, of more women coming into business, bringing, as you mentioned, the emotional and more sensitive aspects, not only to doing business, but understanding cultures and understanding business climates. That's essential for all cultures to grow. So I really want to congratulate you for what you have done, for what you're doing, and certainly for the success that you will have.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you a lot. It was really good talking to you. And please feel free to talk to me anytime on whatever subject you have.
No, we will. I want to be back. I want to have you back again on another program, because I'd like to be more specific as your suggestions to women on how to accelerate this. All right, how to accelerate not only in a family business but in any business. How to help other women think like you think and do what you're doing. So We'll have you back in the future, okay?
Okay, great. That will be a great opportunity because my my final test. How do I say this? Like when you finish the program.
Right.
So when I finished the program at Pittsburgh.
Right.
It was a program for women.
Okay.
We helped. We talked about women empowerment. It was really great. I can talk to you about that.
Well, that will be the next program with you, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you for being part, and I want to also thank our listeners for being part, and let everyone know that you can find more about Ana Carolina Carvalho on LinkedIn, and also the website for the company, which is contechbrazil.com. That's CONTECHBRASIL.com. And also invite you to visit our website, talktobrazil.com. You can also find this and other previous shows of Talk to Brazil on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, amongst others, distribution networks for podcasts. And thank you, our audience. Remind everyone that today's program was brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence. And Focus MI specializes in market research for the Brazilian agricultural market. And more about them on their site, which is focusmi.com. You can also send your suggestions or comments and find me at tom@talktobrazil.com and join the Talk to Brazil group on LinkedIn and follow our discussions. So remember, when you talk to Tom, you talk to Brazil and the world. Goodbye, and thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to Tom Reaoch on Talk to Brazil, the business connector to Brazil.